Welcome, my rising, redeeming, relentless warriors. I'm Icarus, and this is the After the Fall show, the place where lives are shared, falls are felt, and rebirth is forged in fire. And today, we're going to be talking about loss and abuse with Natalie. So let's jump straight into it and not hold anything back. So Natalie, I've got a question for you, if it's okay, just to start us off. And that is, who were you before the fall? If I was going to put it in any way, let's go way back before the point when you knew things weren't right. Who were you? In your own words, and what was the journey that took you there?
When I was younger, if I'm honest, I didn't quite know who I was, especially as I went into my teenage years. And it wasn't until I reached my 30s that I was eventually diagnosed with Asperger's and ADHD, which explained why I had school trauma. I used to get locked in rooms to school simply because of the anxiety of not wanting to go, which is obviously why I advocate very strongly now for others so they aren't put in that position that I was as a child, because it does cause trauma in itself massively. But I would say I had very low self-esteem, low confidence, and yeah, I didn't know who I was really.
It's funny, isn't it? I think there's a bit of all of us that can probably relate to that. Especially if I look back to myself, similar time frame for school. I wasn't locked in cupboards, but I was made to stand and embarrass myself in front of a whole class as part of teaching and getting better with dyslexia. And I think
Yeah,
the world has come so far forward if we kind of like look back to now versus then. But I think whether you're a child with any condition now, either at school or back then, it's still a fight, isn't it? It's like being in the trenches somewhat because not everyone
massively.
understands it.
Massively, especially for obviously not just the children themselves, but obviously the adults out there and the parents too. It's tough. It
So
is
if
very.
we're like going to zoom back a little bit, but zoom in, right? So if you zoomed into that time, what was happening behind the scenes that people weren't seeing, either at home, in your life in general, at school, anywhere? What was going on behind the scenes? Because we tend to hide our true feelings and put on a facade. So describe yourself internally. What was going on?
I was fueled with anxiety. I was very conscious of who I was as a person, everything that I did, my surroundings. Um, I wouldn't say boo to a goose. I was really shy and timid. And then when I reached my teenage years, that's when I just did a full 360 and just completely then rebelled. And I become this angry teenager because I had all of this internal feelings and I didn't know how to channel them correctly in the right way. I didn't have that. I didn't have anybody to really talk to about it because I didn't really understand it myself. Depression started for me when I was around 11 years old. And when you think to like an 11-year-old child, how do you, if you could put yourself in their mind, how can you can't explain depression. Even adults nowadays can't explain depression, what it feels like.
Mm.
And obviously that was me as a child and I didn't have that outlet and that just, it stuck with me and it just chipped away slowly inside.
What do you think the world saw when that was going on? I mean, do you think you had any signs or symptoms?
Me personally, looking back now, yeah, I could see it a mile off. And obviously internally, yeah, now when I look back, I could see it, but I masked it.
Mm.
And I masked it extremely well, which is why I wasn't diagnosed until I was 32 years old.
It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, if I reflect onto my own life, and I'm just going to share that so that others can see it's not a Natalie thing. This is universal.
Yeah.
I have a dyslexia, but I have all the signs and symptoms of ADHD, and I became an alcoholic, for example. Now, one of the things I found in my own life, and I had all the symptoms, and now I step back and I go, it was obvious, is that your masking can take many forms. Depression, some people look at self-harm, some people are so
Yeah.
overly confident, but they're inside, they're absolutely broken. Or in my case, I went to alcohol to calm something because you self-medicate in different ways. It's difficult,
Yeah.
isn't it? Because I think everyone has something, but we
Yeah.
feel so bad for having it.
Yeah, I can completely relate to that. As a teenager, I did start self-harming, and that to me was a release that stopped many years ago. But that was the only release I could find. And even back then, and even nowadays, obviously I've got the scars on my arms and people still comment and look, Do you know what? The way I look at it is those scars tell a tale. They're part of my story. They're part of my journey. And to me, they show how far I've come. And even now, even though I'm doing the work, I was diagnosed with PTSD due to domestic abuse. I'm also dyslexic. And I also have fibromyalgia due to, which is related to trauma. So my body has taken a massive beating, quite frankly. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I am that person as well where I very much hide and I become the class clown and the funny one. But as my friends say to me, I'm very good at putting a smiley face on,
Yeah.
even though you can't see what's going on
The,
underneath the surface.
we all wear a mask, don't we? I once said to somebody
Massively.
that if you look at all great actors, they can get confused sometimes when they have the mask on and when they don't. So do you
Yep.
understand what an actor's real persona is? I think if you've been through trauma,
Hmm.
it's the same thing because we're fearful to take the mask off. And when
Yep.
we do, we feel so vulnerable that we kind of get devastated in a way. Like we don't want the world to
Yeah.
see our wounds, our scars, or even understand what we're thinking sometimes because we think we're a
Yeah.
burden.
Yeah. Not just feeling a burden on people, it's also the fear of judgment, the
Mm.
fear of people not understanding. And that I think makes things harder as well
Yeah. Yeah, it
for a
does.
lot of things.
Well, on that point then, so you've been through this journey, you've had undiagnosis, you've had various different treatments at school and home and all these different things going on. When did it hit the point that at least somewhere in your body, you felt that something just had to change?
10 days before Christmas, in 2023, I lost my dad after a 3-week battle with cancer. That was from him going into hospital to passing away. And my dad was my person. We were two peas in a pod. My dad, on bad days, I always had my dad, and he suffered with his mental health. And I was always there for him as well. And losing him was like losing a part of myself. Like I said, he was my person and I no longer had that. It's- That that really hit me like a ton of bricks. It was, yeah, that was really
Well,
hard.
thinking back to, again, we were speaking before about what it may have looked like outside versus inside then. So with the loss of your father, again, same thing. What did it look like outside versus inside? Because again, I've lost my father. I have a small little Lego man, and for those who are listening and not seeing, I'm just showing him here. This is my father. I mean, I had him made
Mm,
into a model so that I could keep him around. So I think it's universal, this loss, and I think a lot of people, whether we know it or not until they're gone, have a rock in our life most of the time, a protector
yeah,
or a friend. So what did it look like? So
yeah.
that it might help other people understand.
Um, Obviously, because it happened so quickly, as I said, he went into hospital and then within 3 weeks, he was gone. It happened so quickly that it was like a massive shock to the system.
Yeah,
And obviously, having Asperger's, ADHD, and yeah, that it is. It took me a while to process. I was just numb. I was broken.
yeah,
Literally, I was broken, heartbroken. And again, it's feeling that physical pain. Yeah, and as I said, I was just numb. It's
yeah.
the only way I can describe it, just numb, and I just wanted him.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I can tell you one thing before we move on is that the fact that you're on here sharing this, I've spoke to you a few times before this, he'd be proud, right? So
Yeah,
you're doing
thank
something
you.
that leaves a legacy and shares a story. And I'm a firm believer that whether it be through our traumas and tribulations or the best parts of us, there's bits of all our parent pieces are in us. And we
Yeah,
choose the bit. So the fact you're helping the world, right? It shows a good template has been there. So well done, I've got to say.
yeah,
Um,
thank you.
so let's try this then. So you've obviously had this bit. So you've had we'll call that the fall then. So you've been through this piece and there's this bit when
Mm.
suddenly the carpet is pulled out and you've dropped. So let's think about the shift now. So what was the first real shift in your life after that? So the moment where you've been falling down, there's been all this stuff going on, there's uncertainty, you've had loss, there's been pain and abuse and things. When was the point when you went, I can't keep repeating this pattern? So what was the first thing that again grabbed you and says, okay, this can't carry on really?
I've been through 2 domestic abusive relationships, and the first one started when I was 15 years old. Like, as I said, no self-esteem, no confidence. That ended, and I hadn't done the healing work. I didn't know how to do the healing work, and I was told, obviously, "You'll never meet anybody else. Nobody will ever take you on with kids." And in all honesty, that stuck with me, and I went into another relationship, and the thing that really was make or break was just over 10.5 months ago. I was at the stage where I had no escape from this relationship and I was considering taking my life. It
Yeah.
was that
Wow.
bad. I had literally had no escape. And yeah, there was something, I don't know what it was, because I was broken mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and I just couldn't see a way out. But there was something in me, it just sparked. And for the sake of my children, I left.
It's,
And
yeah.
again, it was another one of the hardest things I've ever done.
It's funny,
But
isn't
I
it?
did it.
It's funny, isn't it? I see a lot of synergy with your story to my own, because there was a father figure for myself. And then when I fell, my children were the reason that I then said, this has to stop. Um,
Yeah.
do you think that, not just for them to live for them, if that makes sense? Because obviously I'm mindful you said before that you felt there was a point when you couldn't escape and the only escape was one route, but you pulled back for that for them. Is there a bit too about teaching them what the good template looks like, the way that your dad did? So do you think there's a takeaway here that by fighting that fight, you're also showing them that you shouldn't give up, for example? So how do you think about that?
My dad always told me to keep going. And I say that to my children when they're having a tough time, just keep going. Better times are coming. And I live for my children. My children are my world. And going back to that teenager that was so lost and didn't know what to do with my life, I became a mum very young. And it's the best thing that ever happened to me. Best thing that ever happened to me. So I live for my children. And they've seen the strength from where I was 10.5 months ago to where I am now, how
Yeah.
hard I've fought, not only for me, for them, and they've seen it themselves. And not just that, they've also learned as well
Yeah.
what healthy and what is toxic. And yeah, I'm proud of them for that.
Yeah. Wow. It's amazing. Do you know, it's amazing, is it, where when you know you've got a close bond with people like your children, when it's really connected, when one grows, all grow. And that's a
Yeah.
powerful thing, isn't it? That's great.
Yeah.
So let's take this. So again, so you've done this bit, you had that moment. So
Hmm.
when you actually started to rebuild, right? When things started to actually change, you had a moment when you said, right, I've got to stop now. This has to go in a different direction. What did that actually look like? Like, not on a sort of highlights reel version, but like the raw version, the real version. What did that actually look like for you? Or what did it feel like maybe?
I was isolated, so I had nobody. I'd pushed everyone away for the
Yeah.
sake of that relationship because I was broken myself. And I reached out to one of my long-time friends, and she came to me that evening. And I owe her my life. I genuinely owe her my life. And she just tells me she was there to hold my hand. But if it wasn't for her, do you know what? She supported me the whole way through, whether it was calling me. She'd call me every morning. She'd call me every night. She gave me that love that I needed. She gave me that encouragement to keep going, even when I couldn't see a future ahead of me. It was as if everything was dark.
Mm.
But slowly over time, it was so painful, physically painful. I just used to cry all the time. It was dealing with the PTSD as well, understanding that. Why is my body doing this? Why is my brain thinking this? And we were in survival mode. But over time, the only way I can describe it is in that darkness that was in front of me, it was as if somebody had just put a little pin just through it. And it was like this little light was just shining through. And yeah, it's just got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And it's a case of just it's just a case of putting the work in. Doing the healing work is bloody hard. It's
It is.
so hard. You literally have to strip back everything,
Yeah.
but it's worth it.
Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it? You can go outside in a completely dark night, pitch black, the clouds are out as well. You can't see anything and you can feel so isolated. And it only
Yeah,
takes one friend, one star in that sky, clouds begin to clear, then the moon appears, right? And you suddenly realize there are hundreds of stars out there. It's just that you've been just blinded by the fact that your eyes kind of cloud over. The world feels so heavy, doesn't it? And the
yeah,
veil shuts.
yeah,
What you're describing almost sounds like you've got a friend, but that hand, it's another rock. We all feel kind
massively.
of go in a hole, don't we? And we just need someone to pull us
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
That's literally
That's
it.
what we need. And I know I know from my own situation, I felt like I had nobody and I felt like I had no escape. But do you know what I did? And I managed to reach out to that person.
Mm.
And there is always someone there. It
Yeah.
could be anyone. It could even be a phone number you can call for advice, somebody you can text. Anybody. Reach out to anybody and don't be afraid to do so.
Yeah. Yeah. When people are desperate, there's no such thing as a nuisance, is there, when it comes to a
No,
life? It doesn't exist.
no,
And I think anyone in the world that's ever taught people that template, for those who are listening, you're worth more than any situation. And I think
100%.
part of the fight is that people over many, many years erode you, a bit like the kind of like the water crashing on the beach. It turns to sand, doesn't it, rather than it was a
Yeah.
massive mountain. But it can be rebuilt, and you're living proof of that through this journey you've been through.
Yeah, 100%. It's the same as with mental health. It's a lot better compared to what it used to be, but there are some people that still hold that judgment and that stigma is still there. But I tell you what, it's nothing to be ashamed of. Speak out, shout out about it, because out of however many billions of people there are in the world, there are people out there that get it
Yeah.
and will listen to you and will be there for you. It's the ones that are judgmental and have their opinions. Do you know what? They don't matter. Just reach out.
Yeah. Well, I once said to someone for some advice, they said, "What can I do to ease my pain?" And I said, "Go out into a forest and scream your lungs out and shout
Yeah,
out what it is that makes you feel bad." And they said, "What if someone hears?" I said, "You've just got help." Because
yeah,
we don't, and people do. It's our nature, isn't it? When something's happening, we hear
yeah,
someone crying, if someone's hurt themselves physically, no matter where you
yeah.
are, we're going to give first aid. We're going to assist. So
Hmm.
definitely, no, that resonates with me a lot. So
Yeah,
let me ask you this one bit of advice then to the world, right? So
yeah.
what do people get wrong about change, recovery, or becoming someone new? What is it that you think is that blocker to, to having that happen?
For me, it's the people of the past. I've had to let a lot of people go because they knew the old Natalie, the unhealed Natalie, the angry Natalie, the one who had no idea what was going on inside my mind or inside me. And people don't realize that healing changes people
Mm,
for the better.
yeah,
And if people aren't willing to accept the fact that you've healed and they just want to judge you on who you were, then, as I said a minute ago, they're not worth it. Push them out. Their time is done. The way I look at life is that you're on a journey. You're on this train and you'll keep going and you'll stop. You might get off. Other people get off and get back on again with you.
yeah,
Just keep going. And as I've found, I've got an amazing friendship circle now. And these are people that I didn't know before.
yeah. So, I mean, do you think that some people listening or watching may think that they haven't got what it takes to fill the gap they make? So, through your experience, did you find that once you'd made the gap, people just naturally fell back into it, new people? Or do you find that it gave you breathing room to think more about who you would trust to come back in? I mean, what advice would you give people around that?
For me personally, I took that time to focus on me and mine. And it was very much our little bubble. And obviously, my friend who was there for me, and not just for me but there for the kids too, and obviously professionals that were working with us as well, because I was always scared to reach out to them. But do you know what, that point that broke me, I reached out to everybody that I could, and because I wasn't afraid anymore,
Yeah,
because I'd taken that leap. And I used to procrastinate about it all the time, but do you know what, once I took that leap, I never looked back. And as I said, healing is bloody painful. So really work on yourself, whether you want to journal, whether it's talking, whether it's shouting, having a rant, whether it's crying, whether it's eating chocolate, whatever. Find going for a walk. Do you know
yeah,
what? Just take time out for you. Focus on you, because you need all of that energy and strength to put back into you to build yourself back up. And then over time, I found that I could slowly start trusting people again. And that is when my little network, as I call it, became bigger and got bigger. And yeah, but it's really important that you do that healing work and focus on yourself and put back into you all the love. Learn to love yourself again.
yeah. I
pour
like the way
into your own pot.
I like the way you describe it as a little network as well, because I think a lot of people feel like they need lots of people to clutter their network
Oh.
almost, and it doesn't give you growth, and it doesn't give you focus to have meaningful relationships when it's crowded.
Hmm.
And sometimes we need to pan in a little bit and go, well, actually, I've got 2 or 3 like diehard ride or die people with me who really care.
Yeah,
And I think when we've panned out so far and we think the world's leaving us behind and no one cares, we overlook it. It's that dark, starry night again, you know?
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I think my sisters always had loads of friends, and
Mm.
whereas I just had just a few. And I always used to think, oh, I want loads of friends. But do you know what? I was in that position where at one point I did have loads of friends. And I'm so pleased that my little network is nice and small. And yeah, because it just gets too much. Like I
Yeah.
said, not just that, the people that I've got around me, they understand me, that they are there for me when I need them. I'll give them a call if I'm having a wobble, as I call it, a wobble day.
Yeah.
Give them a call and they'll be like, "Come on, Nat, you can do this. You've got this. Look how far you've come." Because I don't think you realise sometimes as a person how far you actually have come until you look back or somebody points it out to you.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's the surprising thing about growth, it happens by stealth.
yeah. And not just that, I also want to point out to people that when it comes to the dark night of the soul and your healing journey, it, there's no time limit on it. There is. Do you know what? It happens when it happens. So I found myself I was putting pressure on myself at the beginning, thinking, well, you should be doing this by now, and I was way too hard on myself. Whereas now, take each day as it comes, and do you know what? Life is flowing a lot better for me than what it was before because I've taken that extra pressure off. And I think as people, we're very good at putting extra pressure on ourselves when we don't need to. Make it simple. Strip it back, make it simple.
Yeah. So let's think about one last question for you, because I like to strip it back. I like to make it simple. So I'm going to ask one question to see what your advice would be to the world. So you've been through this journey, right?
Yeah,
You're up and it's been unsteady. You know, the wind's been blowing you around the place. You've been burnt and you've fallen. You've had loss. You free fall. You've hit the deck. And then you've picked yourself back up and you've brushed yourself down and you've taken your family with you, you know, and you've got
hmm,
this network now. So you've got
yeah,
your roots for something that's continuing to grow into something beautiful, right? It sounds great. So if you were going to think of the fact that, you know, as Icarus, he has wings, right? And if you burnt yourself, these are wings of fire. So if you were going to
yeah.
pluck out one feather, right, one meaningful, powerful, flaming feather, right, which has some of the knowledge you have in it now, and you were going to look at that as a gift of power, right, or a tip, some advice that you can hand across to someone to stick in their
Yeah.
wings that might be tatty, right, and they're struggling, what would you write on it to hand to them as knowledge or power?
I'm having a good think because knowing me, I would probably write an essay on there. But it
Essays
has
are
to be
welcome.
some.
It can be a big feather.
Yeah, let's have a huge feather.
That's all good.
I would say whatever is weighing you down in life, and this is the way I look at things. I was going through life and I had this suitcase and it was filled full of the most random crap from however many years, the last, 39 years. And I was dragging that around with me. And you know what? Over the last 10 and a half months, I've slowly removed the crap from it. And it's got lighter and lighter and lighter. You're going to come up against things in life because life, sadly, we can't predict. Um, but there's going to be some things, and you're going to think, I can't do that. Well, I'm telling you now, you bloody well can. Because if I can take that leap, which, as I said before, and I've explained about, then you can too. You
Yeah,
really have. You've got that inner strength. There are people around, and anybody will listen to you if you need somebody. You're
yeah,
not on your own. You just feel like you're on your own. It's as simple as that. And do the healing work. I know it sounds so simple. Do the healing work. Reach out to as many people as you can, whether it's friends, family, strangers, whether it's professionals. Just reach out, and help is out there. But as I said, if I can fucking do it, and
yeah.
I'm swearing now,
Go
then
for it.
then you can. Please just keep going because I promise you, life may seem dark sometimes. And I've seen that darkness, trust me. I've been to the pits of hell and back. but I have fucking risen and I am still going. So I've still got healing work to do, but I'm still doing it. And I am that living proof that you can hit that deck, but you can get back up again.
That's amazing.
So keep fucking going.
Go get that print on a t-shirt for you.
Yeah. That's my new slogan.
Well, listen, Natalie, this has been really wonderful to speak to you. And I'm going to give you a round of applause now, clicking the right button, if I can find it. Here we go. At some point, it's going to play. There we go. And I'm doing that because I think it's so important that people celebrate their wins, and you're sharing it, which is powerful, but to celebrate it, sometimes it takes a total stranger that means nothing just to give you a nod of respect. So I'm nodding right now for those who can't see, because this lady's been through it and she's looking vibrant and happy. And I've spoken to you a couple of times now and I can feel your energy, right? You're doing well and I'm proud of you. I just want to say that I'm proud of you.
Thank you. That means a lot.
I'm going to say it.
If it's okay, I just want to, it was one thing that I described today, and it's very much in life, and I think it might help people. You're going to come across situations and all different things, and you need to think of it as this whirlpool. Now, when you're in the middle, you're in the chaos and you're spinning round and round, you're thinking, what the fuck am I doing? Oh my God, no, I can't get out of this. No, it's too hard. But trust me, the further you get out of it, you're still going to be swirling. But it's not going to be as chaotic as what it is in the inside. You just need to fight against that and you will get out. You'll get out into calm waters. And as I said, I'm living proof of that. I didn't smile for a long time. I didn't laugh for a long time, and it's all coming back. So you can do this.
Cool. Well, thank you. I'm going to just say something in closing, because I know we touched on abuse, but if we go on certain things with abuse, you can go certain depths sometimes and certain depths in others.
Yeah.
Maybe at some point you can come back on and go into more when the timing is right for you to help people.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
You've got a great message. But for those who are listening that are going through abuse, I want to just say one thing personally from myself, on behalf of the world, right? And that there are people in this world that will try and control you. And there are people in this world that will try and break you and make you feel that the power was never yours to begin with, because it gives them something to take. And sometimes if you've been through enough, you start to believe the words that you hear. You start to feel that the spark has gone. But listen, it's not gone. And Natalie's commentary here is enough to believe that, there's always that little network. There's always something. So no matter what you do, just know that your energy is yours. No matter what the person on the other end of it is saying to you, do not give it away, because they don't deserve it. Only you can hold it. Only you can carry it. And only you have the right to decide where it goes. And Natalie is living proof that you can say no more. It's mine.
Yeah.
I'm taking it back.
You can take that leap. You
can. So you're valued, you're needed, and let Natalie be a shining star in your night tonight when you go to sleep. And she's brightened up my night as we sat here at 9:30 in the evening recording this. Life does get better. From me, Icarus, from Natalie. Natalie, do you want to say goodbye?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on. And it's goodbye from me.
Stay wonderful, everybody. And remember that you are beautiful people. My name's Icarus. This is the After the Fall show. This is the first episode. Natalie has been an awesome guest. And thank you and good night, everybody. Icarus out.